blasphemy. This is madness.
Stop the insanity!
Are you ready?
You're absolutely out of your mind. I think it's absurd. I think it's an abomination. I think it's a disgrace. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You're a jackass. Embrace the madness. Yes! 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 Yes, Jess!
Yes.
Jess!
Yes.
We got a free agent to sign here. It's happened. It's happened. It is truly maddening now in the city of Philadelphia as we are the epicenter of the sports world in so many ways. And that is why I'm even happier to be here than I typically am. With all of you, welcome to this week's episode of The Madness. We are your ministers of madness, Jessica Town, Rob Lange, also known as the biggest Phillies fans ever, even though we have spent many a day coming on here saying, we're not going to talk baseball yet. And now that's
all I want to talk about.
That's all we want to talk about.
That's all I want to talk about.
It's unbelievable. The week that has been in this city has been one of, my God, the emotions from when we did the show last, which would have been on...
last Wednesday when you said we were going to come on the show next week and Bryce Harper was going to be signed with the team, but he'd be a Dodger. And
that's exactly what I said.
With the team and he'd be Philly.
Thank you for bringing that up.
In case you forgot, I just had to make sure.
Nobody forgot because 30 seconds after this happened, Jess had a tweet out making sure everyone knew that she said Bryce Harper would be a Philly and that I said he would be a Dodger. And according to John Middleton, up until Thursday morning, when he went to bed Wednesday night, Bryce was not coming. That was the quotes. Bryce was not coming, but he is here. Yep. He's a Philly for 13 years, no trade clause, no opt-out, and $330 million richer. But he is ours for the next 13 years.
I had to explain to so many people. Like, I was talking to my mom, and I was just like, she was like, but why? For 13 years? She's like, I don't understand.
I know.
I don't. And I was like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, he was only the second athlete ever to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school, other than LeBron. Other than LeBron, and she was like, "Oh," she was like, "Oh my God," and I was like, "I know," and he's all ours. He's all ours.
And not only is he all ours, has he already put to rest all the, I don't know, does he want to be here? Is he just a cocky guy? Is he maybe one of the most humbling guys I've heard in a press conference.
I've never been happier after a press conference with any Philadelphia athlete that had just arrived. I mean, I've never been happier.
He had all the right things to say. And look, I'm not naive. Part of that is you have a hell of a good PR person in your back corner who's making sure that you have the information you need to have. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that's for damn sure.
Yep.
But like, for example, the one question that comes out to me is in the situation of the uniform number. And he knew about Roy Halladay, and he should be the only one to wear 34. No one else should ever wear it again. And it wasn't even that. It was the answer about Maikel Franco that got me.
I loved that answer about Maikel Franco because it showed we've talked a lot about, good and bad teammates in this city for too many months now on too many different teams. Mm-hmm. So I think a big part of that is the fact that, whether, Bryce had any idea about that specific aspect of it or not, it was huge what he said about Roy Halladay. And that just shows, his love for the game of baseball, his respect for the game of baseball, and some of the greats that have come through. But then it also shows kind of where he is from a teammate perspective. And, when Jimmy Butler came here, they asked him about his number, and he just said, I haven't thought about it yet. But Landry Shamet took it upon himself to just, switch his number, and that's fine. But this, I thought, was, a really big thing of him. And I thought that went a long way with Philadelphia fans. And, naturally, the only thing that the media wanted to cling to was when he flubbed a little bit and said the name of the city that he had been in for the last 7 years, which, I heard it and was just like,
I didn't even hear it.
I heard it and was like, That wasn't right.
I was in too much of a gaga land, I think, watching the press conference with this big smirk on my face that my wife was looking at me going, are you kidding me right now? And I said, yes. I mean, no, I'm not kidding you. This is real emotion. This is
no joke.
This is just an extension from when Jimmy Butler got here, and then Tobias Harris got here, and now Bryce Harper's here. And guess what? The one guy who we were like, how could you not come here? Oh, LeBron. We tried to tell you. We tried to tell you were making the wrong move, and now you're calling people out for effort while you give none?
Oh, the
Bad
defense.
Luck.
The
Bad
defense
luck.
is
Kyle
sad.
Kuzma has to push you to defend the shot. Bad luck. Before we go any further, the madness brought to you by ProSportsNotes.com, powered by WildfireRadio.com. Friday mornings, 9 to 11. Catch us streaming there, WildfireRadio.com. We are also on YouTube. And right now, for the first time ever, we're
live.
We think.
We think.
We think
hope.
we're live.
I can check.
We're hoping to be out there live and streaming for you. And we're going to try and bring this to you so that this way you can interact with us on a live basis. Yes, we have the voicemail line out there that we're going to start getting going here. But and I'll give you that number in a couple minutes because I think Jess has that written down. Mine is written down in another notebook, and I can't think of the number right now. Are we live?
Yeah, we are.
We are live. That's awesome.
We are live. And our phone number is 267-752-5743.
You want to know what I'm most impressed with right there?
I remembered half of it.
You remembered the first 6 digits without it being in your book. That was impressive.
That's because I've typed it so many damn times.
I have too. Different
things that now it's like it's
I actually
starting
typed
to
it.
stick.
I actually typed it in a very angry tweet after the Warriors-Sixers game. I'm not sure if you saw that one, where I
probably did, but I think I quit after that.
Where I
was tired. And I was like, I'm done.
I snapped on everybody, and I told them, go ahead, call in and give me your stupid opinion so that I can tear you a new you-know-what.
I did see that.
Yeah, I was a little angry because that game got over, and everyone, shockingly, who was the only guy to blame?
Brett Brown.
Oh, and we're going to go there a little bit. But today we have a good show. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot of Bryce Harper and Phillies. Obviously, the Eagles have been making moves and have saved somewhere in the upwards of $19 million in cap space with the moves they made over the given last week. And we're also going to do a little draft talk. Okay, we're bringing on from ProSportsNotes.com Andre Johnson. And as far as guys that we know personally,
I don't know anybody better.
Andre is as in touch with this draft, which is good because not only are there guys on the national level, but the Eagles have been attached to. I wrote down 7 names of guys that I've seen them attached to on mock drafts or people talking about them. And honestly, I'm curious what people think about them on the outside. And we'll have Andre come on and talk a little Eagles draft. We'll definitely do some Eagles talk today. And Jess, I am a Catholic. Okay, which means today is a very important day in the Catholic religion. Mm-hmm. I said, not to me. No offense, but
no offense.
But
sorry.
Lent is a time where you give something up. So I thought, and I didn't even run this by you because I wanted to see your reaction. I thought it would be fun if we could talk about a couple Lenten sports give-ups we have. Obviously, you heard Jack Fritz on WIP did the Harper Lent where he was giving something up until Harper signed.
Yep.
And Harper in an interview with WIP said
he was like, my life is complete.
I saw Harper Lent. But things we could give up, little things. And I don't mean give up like not watch the Sixers. Like I could tell you the one thing I'm going to give up is I'm done trying to talk to the jackasses out there. You like that little plug?
I did.
About Brett Brown and why he's a good basketball coach. Because it's just going nowhere. They don't understand that you can criticize without calling for a guy's job or criticize without calling him a bad coach. The fact of the matter is this team is on pace to win 50-plus games for the second straight year, just 2 years removed, or 3, from a 10-win season. And they need to just relax on this.
I mean, I personally...
You're not giving anything up because you're Jessica Town.
Because I can't deal with that.
Deal with what?
I don't think I'd be able to do that. That's too much for me.
All I'm saying is that I'm done trying to explain my role and why I'm defending Brett Brown.
That's fair.
And I've made it very clear that the judgment day for Brett will come in the playoffs. We will all have to judge. We will all have to sit back and look. And if the same mistakes that happened in last year's playoffs against Boston, or if the rotational issue some of us might have in the length of an 82-game season continue in the playoffs, then yeah, we can have a discussion. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Outside of being swept by the Brooklyn Nets in the first round, I'm not coming out the day after the playoffs and saying Brett Brown should be fired.
No.
Like many people are going to do. Honestly, no matter what happens, they're going to do it.
No matter what happens, they're going to do it. And I think the biggest problem with that is the fact that everyone just wants somebody to blame. For some reason, that's always what it is. Everyone wants somebody to blame for everything. And at the end of the day, if you can't pinpoint it on something like, for example, Mike Scott taking it upon himself to foul at the end of the game when he was told not to do that, blame Mike Scott for that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need to do. But if there's not anything like that, like, no one wants to blame it on, where their shots just weren't falling. Or, the shots for whoever they're playing were falling. Good defense, but better offense. No one can just say that.
Or
it has to be a person. They have to be able to say, it was your fault. And that's what Brett Brown is. And that's what everyone, I think they thought Brett Brown was going to just be this scapegoat kind of individual, and he's not.
No, and it's funny because in that Golden State game, things that no one talked about, Tobias, JJ, and Jimmy Butler all shot under 40%. Jimmy and Tobias did a lot of good things in that game.
Yes.
JJ was not very good, but late in that game, with a chance to take the lead, JJ and Tobias on 2 straight possessions missed. Not just an open three.
Wide open.
And why they were wide open because of the play that was run. And you want to talk about how bad Brett's play design is. Well, when a play works, you can't say, the players executed well. That's what they're supposed to do. But they missed the shots. The foul was all Mike Scott. And if you want to blame Brett and say, well, Brett needs to teach him better, Brett literally is shown on the sideline mouthing, why did he foul there? And TJ looked at him and went, now, you want to criticize Brett for anything at the end of that game, and it's a matter of opinion, I'll tell you what I criticize. I do not agree with missing a foul shot with 10 seconds left. Agreed. But guess what? Brett owned up to it. He didn't put the blame on Ben. He said, no, that was definitely the call. We had no timeouts. I didn't trust the Warriors. And I don't agree with it. I totally don't agree with it. You're doing all kinds of stuff today. We are going all kinds of over social media right now, aren't we, though? Yeah. This is special. Look at you. One day as the Sixers beat writer, as you were last night for Wildfire Radio, doing a hell of a job, by the way, covering the game. And now you're out here. We're going to be we're YouTube live. Is this what are we on here? Are we on the Instagram live thingy? See, I'm showing my age. I don't even I've tried to put a story up, and I did. Did you see my story on Instagram from Bryce Harper where I did him in a Nats uniform, the upgrade button?
Yes,
that was a good one.
That was a good one.
I was happy with that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure.
Nice.
What the hell are we talking about? Anyway, I don't want to get into too much Sixers yet. We're going to get there. But that Golden State game. Look, everyone thought that they were going to go up by 14 points on Golden State, and that was just going to be it. That's not what happens.
No,
very rare does that happen.
It
happened last night.
Last year by Golden State.
Yeah, it happened last night. Boston jumped on them early and stayed on them early, and won the game out in Golden State, and for whatever the reason. But Golden State was also coming off of 2 losses. They had sacked Kevin Durant the night before, and they were pissed off, and they were not going to lose all 3 games on a road trip. So confused.
No, they weren't. They were not.
You want 2 microphones? I'm
going to try to sit this up over here.
Oh.
I'm just trying to see what I can do here. What we can do to make this fancy. Because why not? We're here for,
Make sure you are following us on Twitter at RunThisTown13.
That's me.
With an E. At Philly_Madness. You can follow at Langy84. I haven't been on that in a while because I kind of
it will get you nowhere.
I just take over the Philly Madness page and go on my rants at midnight and then have people go, what the hell was the matter with you? And I'm like, that was what Twitter's about.
It's fun.
It is fun. You can follow us on Instagram at Philly_Madness, where Jess has done a tremendous job with that Instagram page, keeping it up and running, doing wonderful things. Anywhere else they can follow us? Oh, iTunes.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait on Facebook. iTunes, Man, this is Rob Lange. Subscribe to the podcast. Does anyone...
And you know what? Like, review us and that kind of crap.
Yeah, can I get a review?
Yeah.
Can I get a rip?
Like stars, reviews. Can we get on that, please?
People have no issue ripping me when I give an opinion on Twitter, but they have a lot of issue reviewing the show.
They have a lot of issues with positive feedback.
I've been getting ripped. I'm called every name you could think of when it comes to defending Brett Brown on Twitter. I'm called a fanboy. I've been called Brett Brown lackey. Some bad names that I'm not going to put out there. People have called me.
So after they lost on Saturday, someone tweeted at me and was like, "Where's your stereotypical, timely, don't come at me about Brett Brown?" And I'm like, well, that's because the last couple games they've lost, it wasn't Brett Brown's fault. Mm-hmm. But
it is every time they lose. And then they won last night.
But Brett Brown had nothing to do with that.
Brett Brown had nothing to do with that, right? He almost blew the game, apparently. It was him that almost blew the game.
It was his fault. You're right.
Yeah.
I hate people.
You know what I don't hate?
It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. It makes my heart so happy.
I want to listen to really sentimental music right now. Shed a tear? No, you're not there.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. All right, so we have Andre Johnson calling in here in about 15 minutes, a little less. So let's move over to the Eagles from now. We are going to talk Bryce Harper. We're going to talk a lot Bryce Harper. We're going to go over some of his quotes from his press conferences, including about a certain someone out in Anaheim. We're going to talk about...
It's not tampering if we do it. It's Mike Trout.
It's not tampering if Bryce Harper does it, and we'll get to that. Stop being babies.
The Angels are babies.
They are, because there's 10 fans out there, and they're all crying. We'll talk about lineups and Bryce's debut coming up on Saturday, and God, how I would love to be in Florida for that, but it won't be happening. But let's move to the Eagles.
I wish.
So, in the whole euphoria of the Bryce Harper signing on Thursday, you wake up Friday and I go into school and someone says, "Did you hear?" And I honestly, when they just said it like that, I thought they were just being naive and discussing Bryce Harper. And I'm like, yeah, everyone did. They're like, no, Brandon Graham re-signing with the Eagles. I was like, what? It's like he was very clear that he wanted to test free agency. He said it. And then you find out it's a 3-year deal. What's it, about $12 million a year? And you keep a guy in home in Brandon Graham who, is his stats going to blow you away? No. But his presence on the field is felt. He's a guy that is loved in this locker room and by this city now. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy who loves it here. And he said that straight when he said, when I sat down with my wife, it became clear none of us wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And you still had people say, why would you do that? You're overpaying, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you why you're not overpaying. Jadeveon Clowney got tagged, right?
Yep.
DeMarcus Lawrence got tagged. Right now, he doesn't want to sign it. But regardless, you know what they're going to make off of that tag?
What?
About $20 million a year for this year. I don't know. To me, that sounds like you got a discount to keep a guy in-house who plays well.
Who's been here for, 9 years?
Who's been here, who shows continuity with the defensive line, who gives you the flexibility now to better other positions on the field, especially if, say, Chris Long decides to play and you have 3-4 defensive ends and, instead of having to grab 2, maybe you only have to grab 1. Mm-hmm. And I was just very excited. I was very excited to know that Brandon Graham was coming back, especially like that.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. And you and I have talked about it several times. We did not think there was any shot that he was going to be an Eagle last year. He was completely... And I don't think there was anybody that really thought that Brandon Graham was going to be an Eagle again. I think everyone had kind of, especially with the way that he left, came off the field in that Saints game, and the way he hugged all the media members, and the way that kind of went, it didn't seem like that was a guy who was ever going to be seen in that uniform again. Mm-hmm. And, he's one of those guys that, he was labeled a bust for a really long time. I mean, Earl Thomas was taken the pick after him. Gronk was taken in the second round of that draft. There are things like that people always look back and go, oh, well, this is what we could have done instead. And it took a while for him to get there, but obviously, they made the right choice then. And, he wasn't a guy that thrived. He was here with Andy Reid for 1 year. Mm-hmm. And I think he only played 3 or 4 games his rookie year. In 3 or 4 games his rookie year.
He didn't play much.
Then the next year, Chip Kelly comes in and they move to a 3-4, which Brandon Graham is not made to be successful in a 3-4 defense. He's just not that kind of player. So that happens, and that's another 3 years. So that's 4 years into Brandon Graham's career, and everyone's, up in arms about that draft pick. And, then Doug Peterson comes in, you put him back where he's supposed to be, and all of a sudden, he's again, maybe not always on the stat sheet, but completely disruptive the entire game. He's always in the backfield. He's always putting pressure. He's always disrupting something somewhere. And I think that's what the people who are saying that this is a horrible signing or are not in agreement with it don't realize, because they're not bright.
No, and look, here's what people are fearing, right? The fear is that the Eagles are going to show too much loyalty to the older guys on their roster. And by doing that, you're not going to improve your team. You're going to stay status quo, which at the end of last year was a loss in the divisional round of the playoff. But Brandon Graham was one guy, okay? Right. Yes, they've made comments that Darren Sproles and Jason Peters, if they want to play, are going to have an opportunity to play. Well, yeah, but Darren Sproles is going to have an opportunity to play probably at like a veteran minimum, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Jason Peters is going to have to take a pay cut. Mm-hmm. Okay. And all the other moves that they've made were all about clearing cap space, as people are calling it on Twitter. It's Howie season. And Howie has given Jason Kelce a year extension. Not because he wants to keep him until he's too old, but for cap space. It saved about $4.5 million. He restructures Lane Johnson's contract and saves, I think, they said somewhere around $6 to $8 million saved with that contract restructuring. They restructured Rodney McLeod to give us cap space. Mm-hmm. And in the last week, with everything they've done, they've saved $19 million in cap space.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
So does that tell you, okay, that you have a team that's only worried about re-signing their own? Or does that tell you that is a team that is trying to position themselves to go out and make some noise in this market? Whether it be the high end of a Le'Veon Bell,
or a couple of the
of the middle side, or a few of the lower side. Is CJ Mosley, who is a name that I've thrown out for the last few weeks on this show, in play as the middle linebacker? Are they looking? And I know that people are totally against this now because he seems to have lost his goddamn mind in Antonio Brown.
He has lost his mind.
I'm that unpopular opinion they do on Twitter, like unpopular opinion for whatever.
Yeah.
My unpopular Eagles opinion is I don't give a damn if he's lost his mind. If you could trade for Antonio Brown, bring him here. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few.
Yeah.
I've had multiple people tell me I'm fine with Le'Veon Bell. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with that. I don't want anything to do with Antonio Brown. Are you kidding? I'll take him. I'll take him right now.
You're out of your goddamn mind.
Did you like that line?
Yeah.
Did you put that line out there?
You're out of your mind if you don't want Antonio Brown here. If you don't think he's an upgrade from everybody on this team not named Alshon Jeffrey, you're absolutely out of you're nuts.
And by the way, I'm becoming more and more what's the word I'm looking for? It's becoming more likely to me that idea of getting rid of Aguilar is going to happen.
And I've started to kind of be okay with it.
You should have been okay with it from the beginning.
Yeah,
because
I know.
I'm telling you right now, he's the guy. He is the guy.
Shut up. Before that was what started the being okay with it.
Everyone wanted to blame Alshon. Everyone wanted to blame him.
I didn't.
But
I didn't want to believe it.
Nelson, Mr. Aguilar. I'm okay with him going. I guess Golden Tate's not coming back, though, huh?
No, probably not. He's going to be a Patriot.
Someone brought up this name to me today, and I was like, yeah, I don't like it, but I don't hate it. And the more I thought about it, it's just that I don't hate it. I'd be okay with it.
Who?
John Brown as our speed guy. Doesn't get hurt. A guy that could stretch the field. He could be that Mike Wallace role only without getting hurt. Mm-hmm. But you'd still, to me, have to add another one. And no, Jordan Matthews is not the one.
I didn't say that, and I wasn't going to say that. If we're talking about speedy guys, we all know he's not the one.
No, not for speed, but just in general. I don't want him on this team.
Stop it.
I don't want him. Just because you wanted to pull the jersey out.
I got to pull the jersey out, and I was perfectly happy.
Speaking of, how long did it take you to order your Bryce Harper jersey?
A day.
Wow.
That's a lie. When did he sign? Thursday?
Yeah.
No, I ordered it Monday morning.
See, ladies and gentlemen, here on The Madness, Jess will lie to you from time to time.
I want to
mark this down.
I couldn't remember.
As
well, what happened was I put it in the cart and then put it away and was like, no, you don't need to do this. And then I looked back at it and was like, no, you don't. And then I finally pulled the trigger on it, and because I can buy a child's jersey, so
yeah, that pisses me off. I got to go out. I don't have to buy big and tall yet. I'm probably on my freaking way there.
The adult jerseys are $119 and the child. Yeah. Did you see the ghost take my microphone? I watched it.
Did everyone else see that? Yeah.
And the child's jerseys are $59.99. So they're literally half off.
So you know what I did though?
So I bought a child's
I did something that I didn't know if I would ever do.
What?
And I don't know if it's a violation for a man to do this.
What'd you do?
I bought the jersey. I bought the T-shirt with his number and name on it. Is that against?
No, I don't
we might have to put that poll out there. Can I actually be a man and wear the jersey?
That's above my pay grade to put it on my Twitter, so I'm going to need you to put it on
that shouldn't be above your pay grade.
Well, everything is above my pay grade.
Well, it's all above mine too because we don't get paid.
Did you see the tweet that went along with Bryce Harper's picture?
What's that?
Bryce Harper tweeted that picture that you just showed me that was so beautiful of him with the bat. And it said, feeling brotherly love.
Oh, this guy. I wish we had a little sound bar where I could do that's what we need right now.
But yeah, that's amazing.
So, all right, back to the Eagles here.
Sorry.
Let me ask you this. Okay. If you could have a wish, and I know that we've gone through who we'd like to see offense, defense, but if you had like a top 5 free agents you'd like to see come to Philadelphia, and I know a lot of people would like the time to write this down, but I'm going to ask you on the spot to give me who your the top free agent is on your list right now. Do you want to see here, and why?
I would say the number 1 spot would be either CJ Mosley or Quan Alexander. They're the 2 names that we've talked about the most. We've talked about a lot how the Eagles have never really had that, stud middle linebacker, that stud linebacker. We've had, our Fletcher Cox, the Carson Wentz, the Alshon Jeffrey, the LaShawn McCoy. We've had those big name players in those different positions, but the linebacker position is one that we haven't had in a really long time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a spot where, especially if they're going, so we've also talked about if they can't land CJ Mosley or Quan Alexander, they have to keep Jordan Hicks. If they can't get one of those 2 guys, I don't think there's anybody else better out there. And, we've talked about the different health issues and, what have you. But if everyone's so willing to keep Carson, that there's no argument for the injury situation with Jordan Hicks. It doesn't make sense. It's hypocritical. And I just think that, so they would be absolutely my number 1 would be one of those linebackers. My number 2 would be not a skinny Le'Veon Bell.
Let the man be.
No.
He's allowed to be a little out of shape.
No. Oh, we're getting a phone call.
Oh, we're going to have to do all this. This is going to be fun. You're going to make sure he's there?
Hey, we're putting you on now.
Okay. We are going to be bringing you from ProSportsNotes.com our friend. Hang on. I'm going to plug him in here. It's a little bit more confusing. That would be Andre Johnson. Andre, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. It's good to talk to you. I feel like you're our draft expert, Andre.
Yeah, I try to do what I can. I'm not Mel Kiper and McShay yet, but I try to do what I can.
Well,
you're our version of Mel Kiper.
I wouldn't even want to be those guys because they both have suggested the Eagles are going to take a corner in the first round, and I think everyone's falling into this trap right now.
Yeah, McShay, he released his mock draft 3.0 today, and he has us taking Rock Ya-Sin, which very cool name. I want to point that out. He went to Temple, so he's familiar with the stadium. He's very familiar with the area. He would fit right in immediately. But the problem is we just don't need a cornerback. I mean, or at least not taking one in the first round. I'll say that. It just doesn't make too much sense. Like, even if Ronald Darby were to leave, I just can't see us taking a corner unless it's Greedy Williams. He somehow fell to 25. But other than that, I just cannot see them drafting a cornerback. And I think he would be there in the second or third round as well. So I don't know.
When you think about what the Eagles are going to do, the spot they're in this year and the spot they were in last year is really rare because, they're at this spot where there are some holes, but they're not overly ridiculous where, they're not picking 3 or 4 where it's just like,
right.
Take the best player because your team's that bad and you need the best player available. From the Eagles' perspective, disregarding all the mock drafts and what everyone else thinks, who do you think or what position and which player at that position do you think is truly the best for the Eagles to take in the first round?
Well, I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people are initially saying Josh Jacobs from Alabama, and I've always been on we don't need to pick a running back in the first round. It's just, there's always just so many running backs that you never need to do it unless it's like a generational talent or something like that. So I've never thought we were going to take a running back in the first round. I personally think we're going after Le'Veon Bell. Hopefully we can land him, but I think either Tevin Coleman or Le'Veon Bell, that'll take care of the running back situation. I think we're going defense, and I think especially with Tim Jernigan going to free agency now, there's a big hole there at defensive tackle. I think Dexter Lawrence, he makes the most sense to be the pick. Yeah, I know he got hurt running his 40 time, but I think he makes the most sense. And if not Dexter Lawrence or not another defensive tackle, I would say Devin Bush if we don't get C.J. Mosley. So I'm saying either a linebacker. If Devin Bush were to make it at 25, I would select him. But if not, I would take Dexter Lawrence, which he should be there at 25.
It's I've looked at a few mock drafts here, Andre, and obviously Dexter Lawrence has come up. The other defensive lineman from Clemson that has been linked to the Eagles is Christian Wilkins. I wanted to see what you thought of both of those guys and if one you think fits more than, say, the other here.
Well, I would say Wilkins would probably fit as one of like the pass rushing defensive tackle. Like when you look at Clemson last year, but you put both of them together, they were just the whole Clemson defense was ridiculous. Cause I know earlier they had us selecting the cornerback Trayvon Mullen as well. So you seem to have this love affair with the Clemson defense going to the Eagles. But Lawrence, he's 6'4", 350 pounds. You put that man in the middle. The Eagles already have a very good run defense. You put that man next to Fletcher Cox, and then you have Brandon Graham. Hopefully we keep Michael Bennett. No, that's just like a body you can't move in the middle, so that helps the run defense. He's got some pass rushing ability as well. So I don't think Wilkins is going to make it that far, but hey, if we were able to pick from Wilkins or Lawrence, I think that's a win-win situation. You can't go wrong with either one.
You mentioned, so sort of staying with the defense, you mentioned that if Devin Bush were to fall back there, if they don't get either a C.J. Mosley or possibly a Quan Alexander or somebody like that, right, taking that linebacker if he's there, what do you like about him that you think he would be a good fit with the Eagles defense, or why he would kind of, work well on the team, or just in general, what is it that, he has to offer that you really like?
Well, when you watch him in college, he went to Michigan, and Michigan the whole season had the nation's best defense. And obviously that didn't work out against Ohio State, but every other game, he is all over the field. He was the nation's top linebacker, voted the best linebacker. He's the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And what I like about him, he can pretty much do everything. He can cover, he can get after the quarterback, he can chase you down in the open field. And that's what the Eagles need, especially when we only really use 2 linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
You got Nigel Bradham doing pretty much everything. And, Jordan Hicks, a lot of people are trying to decide if we should bring him back or not. I think we should let him go. Not that he's a bad player. It's just, he's just a health concern. So I would just let him walk. If we are able to bring him back on like a 1-year cheap deal, go for it. But I'm saying Bush, putting him next to Nigel Bradham, you have 2 linebackers who can move all over the field, cover. It would kind of be like what Carolina had with Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, two guys that just make it easier for everybody. And then when you have the front four getting after the quarterback, linebackers that can cover, a growing secondary that's getting better and better, I think you have the makings of, if we added Bush, to have an elite defense, borderline elite defense.
Andre, I know you mentioned Josh Jacobs' name, and that's like the sexy pick in a lot of these mock drafts that go to the Eagles in the first round. But you and I know this team. They have never truly valued the running back position early in drafts as it is, let alone the first round. And obviously he's a talent and he's a good player, and you would love to see him, I guess, in an Eagles uniform in a sense. But look, the Eagles have to address the running back position in this draft, even if they were to sign somebody. But I think they have to do it in one of those first 3 rounds this year. They can't wait till the 4th or 5th or just hope on another undrafted free agent like a Corey Clement, or I guess to a lesser extent a Josh Adams. So give me some names of running backs who maybe the Eagles could pick up 2nd, 3rd round that could be somebody that could step in and contribute for this team.
All right, well, there's a lot of them. The running back class, it's deep. I know a lot of people are always on that. I've always been a fan. You can find a running back anywhere. So if we don't go Josh Williams, there's another running back at Alabama, Damian Williams. He would be there. My personal favorite out of the entire draft is David Montgomery from Iowa State. I believe he's got that combination of just power. He could be, put him in on the goal line, he'll get you a touchdown, get you them dirty yards. But he also has the ability to catch the ball. He's not a complete pass. I know earlier he had some comparisons a little bit to Saquon Barkley. So anytime you're kind of in the same realm as him, you really can't go wrong. So I would love to see, and he would be there in the 2nd round, should be. So I would love to see David Montgomery. Also, Devin Singletary from Florida Atlantic. He's another guy. Flies under the radar because of the conference he was in and the team he played for, but very productive running back. I think he would be another guy who would be a great fit if we choose to select a running back in the earlier rounds. And then if we move back a little bit further, LJ Scott from Michigan State. He's another back who he's obviously drawn that comparison to Le'Veon Bell. It's more than just like the school, though. He's got that patient running style. Injuries have been a concern with him as well. But if we make it to like the 4th or 5th round, need a running back, haven't got one, LJ Scott would kind of fit in in the later rounds.
So staying with the offense now, it looked like there wasn't really going to be a need for the Eagles this year to focus on receivers at all, based on kind of what they had after. But it seems like they're not going to be able to re-sign Golden Tate. It doesn't appear as if they're going to bring back Jordan Matthews. They've put it on the table for possibly Nelson Aguilar to be traded. So if that all happens, really the only people we have left are Alshon Jeffrey and Shelton Gibson, and that's no way to build an offense. So who would you think that if they have to address that position in the later rounds somewhere, who do you think on that side, in that position, would be a good fit here?
All right, well, before we even get to the drafts, I would hope that Matt Collins can
I forgot about
step
him.
up and you forget.
Is he alive or is he still in witness protection?
I still don't know if he's alive.
I think he's in witness protection somewhere.
I hope. We got to find him, because I would hope that there was a lot of hype about him when he came from North Carolina. He was supposed to be.
He was my guy.
Flashes.
You love Matt Collins.
I loved him. And it's you forget about him when it comes to a guy that should be able to step up. So, I would hope if he gets healthy, he can be a guy that can step up into that role and develop a nice role in the offense. But, if we can't get anything from him, then, it's a deep draft at receiver as well. So somebody I would like later on is Deebo Samuel from South Carolina. He's he can pretty much do everything in the offense. You can line him up at tight end if you wanted, or put him in the slot. He can pretty much do it all. South Carolina was not really that great last year. They struggled with quarterback play, but he was somebody who pretty much did it all. He can also help you in the return game. So just like the versatility aspect, Samuel's somebody I would look to. Then you also got N'Keal Harry from Arizona State. He would be kind of on the earlier side, But from Arizona State, he'd be somebody probably second or third round we could probably get that would help the Eagles give him a big target. I know it's kind of a similar skill set to Alshon as far as a big guy who could go up and get the ball. But I think going forward, the Eagles, that's what we need. You got Aguilar, and hopefully that they're able to work out a contract for him, because you can't let him go, let Golden Tate go, and then not really have any speed threat behind them. So if we go for a speed aspect, there are two more people I would suggest. Paris Campbell, I'm going to say it's 4.32. That was his 40 time at the combine. Get him. I know he needs some work on his routes. He needs to be more consistent catching the ball. But, he could easily be our next deep threat. And then the final name is Marquise Brown, a.k.a. Hollywood Brown. He should be going in the first round, but that's another person I would look to as somebody that can give us that Deshaun Jackson type home run hitting ability on the offensive side of the ball that, for the most part, the Eagles have lacked recently. And I know Aguilar is close, but we need that deep threat ability.
Talking with Andre Johnson from our parent company, ProSportsNotes.com. And Andre, another position where people think the Eagles are going to draft, and some have them drafting the position as early as the first round, is the safety position. And a name that I've seen pop up is another one that I guess you would say is local from the University of Delaware, and that's this Nasir Adderley. I'm just curious, is he a first-round talent, or what kind of a talent do you see this kid?
Me personally, after looking at him, and he did well at the combine, and I would say I would definitely take him in the first round. Just off his college tape, I know it's Delaware, but everybody's going to remember Joe Flacco as that.
Watch it. Go Hens.
Say what you need to say, Andre. Don't listen to her.
Everybody's going to know, from Delaware, Joe Flacco is the guy. Everybody's going to think that. But I really think that Adley can make the same kind of effect in the NFL, that he can be on that fame level of Joe Flacco as far as being a great safety. He's got the versatility. You can put him at corner as well. I don't know if you guys ever saw that highlight of him returning that punt, but that was a SportsCenter top 10 play.
Yes.
He ran over somebody and returned the punt, so he can even do that. And this is ball skills. I know we need a third safety, and everybody's thinking, should we go after Landon Collins? I know Eric Weddle was just released yesterday as well. But, it's not a glaring need at safety, but, if you want somebody to grow and maybe take over from Malcolm Jenkins, Adderley is definitely somebody I would look at as the future in the secondary, should we go that way.
So you were on that call this morning. You were on a conference call with Todd McShay talking about his mock draft and some of the different things. And I know typically on those phone calls, most of the questions come from reporters of teams that are, picking in the top 10 and that's right. Sort of who's always end up there. But were there any other really interesting points that, that were made or that you think are worth noting when it comes to really how either Eagles fans or just football fans in general think about this year's draft, or certain players that were mentioned or anything like that?
I would say the most, and it's always the quarterback, so it's a quarterback-driven lead. Yep. And we know he talked a little bit about back when the Eagles traded up to get their guy, Carson Wentz. And the Cardinals are in the same exact situation. So me personally, I feel like the Cardinals are in a win-win situation. I think they're going to go with Murray. If you really think he's the guy, I think you just have to do whatever to get him. And similarly like what the Eagles did, we felt that Wentz was the guy. You got to do everything you can to get him. I know the Cardinals, they're already at one, so they don't have to do much. But, I think it's just interesting seeing the options that they have, whether you keep Rosen or you trade Rosen. He said they could maybe trade back and maybe take a receiver like DK Metcalf or something like that, or work on the offensive line. But I personally think that the Cardinals are in a win-win situation. They really can't go wrong here as far as where they keep Rosen, where to go with Murray. And if the Cardinals, if they do take Murray, then that opens it up for teams like, say, the Raiders or the Jets, who can, pass rush is going to fall. Nick Bosa is going to fall now to 2 at least. You got the guy from Kentucky. I'm drawing a blank right now. But you got him. You got Rashawn Gary. It's just so many – the defensive line is just so stacked in the early the top of the draft that, we're just going to have to see like what happens with that. And then the rest of the quarterbacks, Drew Lock, where does he go? So it's just going to be really interesting to see like how it all plays out.
Andre, just got to put my mic back on there. But Andre, you mentioned DK Metcalf, and this kid is just he's like just this unbelievable story. And I mean, my God, the size he is and how fast he runs and how tough he is. Where do you realistically see him going? Because people do have there have been a few people who have mentioned concerns about him, but I guess from health reasons and stuff like that. Yeah. But just where do you see him going? Well,
first of all, did you guys see that picture of him with AJ Brown? Like, I couldn't believe it. The man has 1.9% body fat.
That's absurd.
Is that even real?
He said at the combine, he said the only treat he's had was one Krispy Kreme donut. So I don't know how
I hate him.
I don't know how you get your body to that standpoint.
I don't want him here, ever. I can't look at that and then look at myself in the mirror and be okay. Can't do it.
He can't have a Philly cheesesteak and not going like that. But
no.
Getting back to the question, I see him going to a team in the top 10. I think Buffalo makes the most sense. You got Josh Allen, you got your quarterback. They desperately need help on that offense. So LaShawn McCoy is not the same. He can't carry that team anymore. They need something on the outside. I think he'd be a perfect fit there. Or if you were to go to a team like Cincinnati, they're looking to trade John Ross. You pair him with AJ Green, form a nice duo there.
Oh my God!
If he were to fall any further, maybe the Steelers, if they were to trade Antonio Brown or whatever happens to that situation. But despite the concerns, I know he had the injury with his neck, but I think he's just such a generational talent. He has that ability. He's got the same build as Julio Jones, so the potential is there. I just think you guys got to take some chances and take the risk on him. He's just that good.
When it comes to keeping it in the division, the Giants, right, they are an absolute hot mess over there. They've got their running back, and they so far have angered Odell Beckham a little bit. We don't know whatever goes on in his head. They have, said that they had some interest in Nick Foles initially, but then said, Eli's our guy. And then they are not going to put the tag on Landon Collins, which I think is a stupid idea, but that's neither here nor there. What do you think realistically they're actually going to do in the draft?
What I think they're going to do, well, I think if they're smart, what they're going to do is sit where they are and draft Dwayne Haskins. And I think that's the safest move. That's the smartest move for them.
Right.
Because, they, like you said, they got the running back. You got your star guy. You wanted him. Now you need a quarterback. They skipped the quarterback last year. Everybody said, well, you guys were dumb. I didn't think it was necessarily a dumb move, but, because, Barkley's, he's great. He can do everything. And the quarterbacks this year, they're all good enough. They cannot mess this up, though. I think you got to find your quarterback now. You got Odell Beckham for, I don't know if they're going to end up trading him, but if you want any chance of keeping him happy, you want him to stay in New York and have any chance to compete again, you need your quarterback. And I think they just stay where they are, get Dwayne Haskins, and then go from there. And like you said, though, I can't understand why they would just let Landon Collins go for nothing. That's just dumb to me. But other than that, I think they just take Haskins and keep it moving.
Andre, before we let you go, I know we're still probably ages away from this draft at this point, but
it feels like
and it's tough to make a prediction, I guess, before free agency because you don't know who the Eagles will pick up there and if there will be any trades. But if you had to make a prediction today, who would you think the Eagles end up taking there at the end of the first round?
That's a tough question. Well, if I had to make it right now, and this is assuming that Tim Jernigan stays away, he's gone, and we don't do anything else to address that position, I would just say we take Dexter Lawrence. I think that's the safest option right now, and the safest pick. I would, it's a toss-up between him and Bush. I don't think Bush makes it past the Steelers. So I think that we stay at 25. I don't think we make any trade ups or trade downs. And we just go with Dexter Lawrence and call it a day.
All right, Andre, before you go, why don't you tell people how they can follow you on social media and all that kind of stuff?
All right, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at nevers_failures, NEVERS_failures on Twitter and Instagram. Also on Pro Sports Notes. So we got about a month and a half between the drafts, so I'll be working on a mock draft myself. So Dexter Lawrence would be my pick, and then I'll lay out the upper 6 rounds and see what I can come up with, and hopefully something that makes sense. No corners in the first round.
There you go. Does not make sense. I'm with you. Andre, we appreciate, man, as we said, as Jess said in the beginning, you're as good as there is at draft coverage, and we appreciate you coming on with us.
Anytime. We'll be happy to come on, and thank you guys for having me.
All right, Andre, take care.
All right, you guys too. Thank you.
That was Andre Johnson from the wonderful ProSportsNotes.com, where we are from. Oh, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Would you like your phone back?
Yes.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, and it's funny. He said Dexter Lawrence right away, and a couple of the first names that I wrote down were the 2 defensive linemen from Clemson, or the 2 that keep showing up. Jess, you said it last week, I believe, and I'm in agreement with you. I think that they're going to go somewhere in the trenches in the first round.
Yeah.
And I think because of where they are picking, it's more than likely going to be a defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially after they did what they did this week with
the offensive line.
Yeah, and they're also working on getting an extension done for Vaitai too. So they're not addressing.
What did you think about the Sayamalo extension?
I think that
it ends up saving him money on the cap. I know that, but
I think that he has potential. And yeah, he played like crap the first couple times we saw him in there, but when they put him in here this year, he was fine. He didn't.
Yeah, you didn't hear his name, which
is
for an offensive
thing.
lineman, you don't want to hear their name.
No.
But listen,
he wasn't the revolving door that he had been.
Right. I know that this mentality that I have is not always the one most successful when it comes to the draft, but I like championship pedigree. And if you can get a guy from a Clemson or a guy from an Alabama, I like to pick immediately because they know how to win. They know what it takes to win. And listen, I remember I didn't watch a ton of Clemson, but when I did, the one thing that stuck out were their defensive tackles, which for the most part are your Christian Wilkins and your Dexter Lawrence.
Right.
Now, Andre thinks Christian Wilkins will probably be gone by that point.
I would assume he would be.
But my God, if you got to choose between the 2 of them and pick one of them, it would be a home run, I think. And I think the Eagles should go defensive line. If by some chance they're on the board and Josh Jacobs is still there, do they have to think about it? I think a lot of that depends on a couple things. On the surface, yes, they have to think about it. They absolutely have to think about it. However, if you sign a Mark Ingram, if you sign, I know it's probably not going to happen, but I'm just throwing it out there, Le'Veon Bell, no, you're not thinking that. Your running back's going to come later. You just invested a good amount of money into a guy. Mm-hmm. I know people are throwing Tevin Coleman's name out there.
I wouldn't be disappointed in it. I just think that
I don't think he's what you need. You need a 2-down back, and he proved to me that he wasn't that last year. He's more of a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield and do. I want the tough, hard-nosed back. Yes.
We have plenty of those. We don't need any more.
Exactly. I want the tough, hard-nosed back, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm fine going defensive line. I know that even linebacker, I know he talked about Devin Bush, a name that one guy threw out that said the Eagles would have to trade up to get, but if they did, it would be another home run as a defensive tackle from Mississippi State, Jeffrey Simmons. Anywhere on the defensive side of the ball in the front 7, meaning obviously lineman, linebacker, mm-hmm. I'm on board with. And I really think should be their first look.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We talked about it. That's, what.
And I think it's that for multiple reasons, because A, it is your need, but B, it's the deepest place in the draft. And your need may also be the best player available when it comes to defensive linemen. So why not just go and do it? Just be smart. Get your defensive lineman. Have a great offseason. Have a great off season. Man, I get good
Something funny?
Good text messages that are just comical. But
I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy for you.
Hopefully we get a nice
share, or are you just gonna...
No, we don't need to share.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you off the air.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was one of those or not. I figured I'd...
Yeah, it's not a terrible one, but it's one that...
Could be better.
Yeah, no. It's not even that bad. It's just funny. But it's from a good friend of mine who I think is tuned in on the YouTube live stream, which you can get over to if you go search Pro Sports Notes. Click on the Pro Sports Notes channel. It's the first thing that'll pop up is that we are live streaming on YouTube now and every week for the rest of time. Or
forever. Until the end of time, forever.
Yes. Hopefully, we are crossing our fingers. We have somebody else in the studio with us next week.
We can only hope.
It would be a lot of fun. Someone that is very close to one of the organizations, does a lot of work for them, like all the work for them and stuff like that.
Does really cool things.
Really cool things. Not anybody in the front office. Listen.
You don't get too excited.
Elton Brand is not coming in here next week.
No, but I think I would be equally as excited.
Yeah.
If this person does make it in here next week.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna present them with a gift, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Hopefully. So that will be next week. As always, man, this is ProSportsNotes.com, powered by WildfireRadio.com. You can catch us on Wildfire Radio between 9 and 11 a.m. on Friday mornings, live streaming on their site. You catch us on YouTube now live, and then obviously it should be there.
You can watch it later.
If you don't have time.
Now.
Who has time to watch it between 3 and 5 on a Wednesday? If you do, you need a hobby. Because you shouldn't have the time to be watching this between 3 and 5.
If it was me, I would just put it on my big monitor.
That's what I'm hoping right now. If you got some people,
put it on the side,
people at work, watching this as they're working, we would appreciate that.
That'd be lovely. Could you?
Also, get over to iTunes and oh man, I said something. I'm trying to think of who this is from, and they said wearing a T-shirt does not make you a child. So far, already 10 votes on my poll, by the way.
You put it up?
And 80% are saying, yes, I can wear the jersey.
There you go.
While 20% are saying, don't be a child. And I have been tweeted out, wearing a T-shirt does not make you a child. So, okay, fair enough. It's going well for me. That means I'm going to be able to wear this shirt.
Yeah, I told you. It was... I didn't understand.
I think it's a kid thing. I don't know, but I did it because I was like, I needed to have it.
I have some.
You're a girl. It's different.
It's not. Stop it. That's a whole separate issue that we're not gonna get into. Not today.
I was gonna put no, be a man as the other choice.
That's a pretty good idea that you didn't. I'm proud of you for thinking it through, because let's keep in mind you also have 2 daughters at home, and I will throw things at you if you start going that direction.
2 daughters. Speaking of which, I'm going to have to tell you my story of how I heard where I was at the time of the Bryce Harper announcement. We'll get to that here in a couple minutes. So, all right, free agency opens a week from today.
Does it?
13th, right?
Yeah.
So we will literally, how much fun is this going to be? This is the tampering period starts on the 13th,
No,
right?
the tampering period starts on the 11th.
All right, so we're going to have ideas,
they can start.
but things will legitimately become official as we are on air.
And we will be live.
Week. Unfortunately, we will already know what has happened because the tampering period, now people just come to agreements, even though you're only supposed to...
Joe Flacco will be a Bronco by this time next week.
Look at you making your predictions already. That's Jessica Town, the man, this resident Nostradamus over there, making the predictions. So we'll talk all free agency next week. Obviously, we'll do some Sixers talk, hopefully, as well. There you go. I gave you another hint. Somebody that's associated with the Sixers could be joining us, as long as Jess...
He will at some point.
What does that mean?
If he can't make it work next
at 1 week.
Yeah, if he can't make it work next week, at some point he will be here. He's made that very clear to me that he's like, I'm not just saying it, like, we'll make it work. He's just got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and now...
I told him if he needs help, call me, because that's what I'm here. I was like, I'm here. I will help you. Let me know.
The madness is your friend. We are working on a couple other things now that we're back to a routine. Hoping sometime around the draft... after the free agency buzz has calmed down, a special show. We are trying to work out all the details on that. We're going to try and get you some big guests. We almost had a couple bigger guests locked down for today, but scheduling conflicts made it so that we're going to have to maybe push them to later weeks.
They're a lot more important than we are, so they have better things to do.
Jess, you are a very important person in my world, Jess.
Thank you. You're an important person in mine.
Looking at you and all the things, and there you are taking pictures from Media Row at the Sixers game last night.
Yeah.
How'd it go? Did you enjoy it?
It was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah. I got the call yesterday at noon asking if I would go to the Sixers game, and I was like, oh my God. But then meanwhile, I'm like, oh my God, like I haven't washed my hair in like forever. I am not dressed well. So I had my mom bring me separate shoes to my office because you didn't wash your hair, so you got separate shoes? Well, okay,
Where's the correlation? I need to know the correlation.
I didn't say there was. There were just a lot of things going on. So let me back up. So last week was like a crazy busy week at work for me. Mm-hmm. This week was much calmer. So noon, it's like, can you go to the Sixers game tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'll leave work at like 4 o'clock. I'll run home, I'll change, and I'll head down to the city. Well, then at like 3 o'clock, someone's into my office and they're like, I need you to do this and I need you to start working on it now. And I'm like, oh my God. So I called my mom and I was like, have you left the house yet? Can you bring me these boots? Because what I'm wearing right now just isn't good enough. I need something to change. So my mom was like, it would have been good if I had a little bit more notice. And I was like, yeah, me too, Mom. Could you just please bring me my boots? So she brought me my boots because she's an angel. And I finished up my work, got dressed, and went down to the stadium. I had to pay to park, which totally sucks. But also, there were so many people there. I got there. I was pulling into the Wells Fargo Center at 5:55, and the parking lots were already full. So I was like, oh my God. So I had to park, walked into the media entrance. And when I got there for the Wings game a couple weeks ago, my name was not on the media list. So they wrote me a pass and it was fine, whatever. Well, this time my name was on the media list. They had a press pass for me. I got into the media room and I'm looking on the seating chart to find my name. I was not there. So I was like, great, we made it one step further and that's where it ended. So I went to talk to their PR guy and he was just like, the seats that say reserved are just for media members, so you can go there. Or Keith Pompey is already in Chicago for tomorrow night's game, so he's not here. You can go take his seat. And I was like, well, I assume his seat would be better than just a random media member like me.
Oh, so you were in Pompey's seat.
I was in Pompey's seat. So I went and sat in Keith Pompey's seat. I was next to Kyle Neubeck and the 76ers stat team. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I was right on the baseline, a couple rows back. When they put the fire on, when they're doing the announcements, that gets real hot right there. It was really toasty.
So did you speak with Kyle?
Yeah, we chatted for a little bit, and it was cool because so for the Wings game there were not very many media members there, so everyone was really spread out, just kind of hanging out. For this one, everyone was right there, and it's all people that are with Philadelphia in some way, so it's not cheering necessarily, but it's like commenting talking about the game, which was kind of cool. Right. Because, when I've done, the stuff with Sunday Night Football, like I have to sit in the back corner and be completely silent. Like I can't make noise.
How did you do that? Knowing you as well as I know you,
it was a Cowboys game too. It was Sunday night against the Cowboys. It was very difficult.
Well, there was not much to root for in that game.
Well, but making noise for any kind of noise was not allowed. So so that was hard, but sitting there and being able to kind of talk about it when, JJ's getting his shot back, we're talking about it. We're excited about, JJ being, getting out of this shooting rut. When Jimmy Butler takes over at the end, it was really, really cool. And it was fun to do because I sat there, wrote my article as the game was going on. But it was also really cool to watch, these things you don't see from the TV, like watching Mike Scott set screens. They are lethal. Like watching people run into Mike Scott's screens was hilarious. So watching that was awesome. Watching how happy JJ was to kind of get back out there, get back into a rhythm again. Some of the different little quirky things that they're out there doing on the floor. Like at one point, there was an offensive foul called. I think it might have been on Mike Scott. There were 2 offensive fouls called on Mike Scott. It was the second one where he passed the ball to him and Jimmy Butler passed the ball to Mike Scott and the camera was sort of behind him and you couldn't see Jimmy's face, but Jimmy was just like, and it was just like little funny things. And then after the game was over, you had to walk across the floor to get to the other side where the tunnel they come out, because that's where the media room is. So I was like walking across the floor and I'm like, oh my God, like people do this all the time. And I'm just like,
yeah.
And so then I went, sat down, and all of a sudden Brett came in, and I was like, oh my God, hey Brett, what's up?
Yeah, very good job live streaming the press conference a little bit from Instagram. You did.
And Brett Brown's funny. He's funny. They asked him, they were like, what did they say? They said, do you have any plans on anybody sitting out tomorrow because it's the second half of a back-to-back? He goes, God, I hope not.
Yeah. It was a great answer.
And then they had JJ Redick and Tobias Harris were available in the locker room, but almost everybody got up and ran. So I was like, I'll just stay here for Jimmy Butler and Amir Johnson.
So that was my question to you. Did you have the ability that if you wanted to go in the locker room to talk to people?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had the choice, and I was like, I kind of want to sit here. I want to reconnect with my good friend Jimmy Butler. Yeah, so you and
going to Greece with him.
Yeah. But it was funny because he had on the same... So he had on the same 2 necklaces that he had on we were in Greece, when I saw him in Greece. I meant me. So I say we because me and my brother, when I posted the picture on Instagram, commented and was like, hey, Jimmy, I see you have 2 of the same necklace. Let me get one. He was wearing the same necklaces last night, and I thought it was really funny. So I texted my brother, and I was like, oh my God, he's wearing the same necklaces. But I mean, it was really awesome to be there. It was really awesome to sit there and watch them connect because, I mean, there have not been, knock on wood, reports in a very long time, anything having to do with Jimmy Butler being a poor teammate or this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, last night, just watching him interact on the floor, kind of seeing the different things briefly as the locker room door opened and closed, of just the different, as they're coming out, the different interactions, and then him and Amir just sitting there talking and laughing and joking. And Jimmy was like, genuinely, we just really enjoy each other. Mm-hmm. We really enjoy each other's company. We really enjoy being around. We laugh, we smile, and then basketball just is the easy part of it. And, you know, even at one point, Boban opened the door from the locker room and just like kind of like looked around and smiled and went back in. And they were just like, what, why did you do that? Like it was just really funny. I think they've got a really good team dynamic, and I think that's a big thing that can take the team far.
I wonder who helps that team dynamic.
God, I can't put my finger on it. I can't imagine.
Imagine who does that. And, you know, you heard Tobias say this week, you want to come here and play for coaches like this. They're great coaches. But, you know, jackasses out there want to continue to make their comments. By the way, speaking of jackasses, I'm sure you've noticed my shirt says #jackass. No, I'm not referring to myself. I'm talking to the millions. Now, that's not nice.
Sorry.
You wore a Jackass shirt the other day, too, so I don't want to hear it.
I did.
I'm referring to the millions of people out there that I love to refer to as jackasses on a daily basis.
Because they are.
Because they are. But this shirt can be purchased at shop.prosportsnotes.com, along with many of our other shirts. We have another one, hopefully getting designed at some point. I kind of threw out an idea like late in the week, early part of the weekend to Jess, saying, hey, we need to get this shirt made.
Rob likes to throw out ideas to me. Sometimes most of the time they happen at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
It's like the most inconvenient time.
No. And like I said, I just throw it out there and know that at some point. But judging from some of the shirts that have been made, I think ours would be by far the best. I was very disappointed with some that I've seen so far. I think ours would be fantastic. So we're going to hopefully get that going. But shop.prosportsnotes.com. Here's what people don't understand. That shirt, that money goes directly to this show, making this show bigger and better and giving us opportunities to grow this thing so that we can really take this to a whole nother level in 2019. So please get out, buy the merchandise. Even if you're buying a sticker, just buy a sticker.
Buy a sticker. They're adorable.
I mean, I'm not going to say they're adorable. They're very nice. They're very nice stickers. But
they are.
We opened the show by me cheering about Bryce Harper. Jess is wearing her Philly shirt about Bryce Harper. Just so happened that my Jackass
won't
shirt
ship until March.
Yeah,
at the end of March.
Just so happened that my Jackass shirt is red, and I'm honoring the Phillies. But on Saturday was the press conference, and on Saturday there were so many memorable quotes, and the wonderful people at NBC Sports Philadelphia have a 1 minute and 37-second little clip here of the most memorable quotes of Bryce Harper. So we're going to sit back and listen to this. There's probably going to be an ad first, so I want to make sure I'm not getting hit with an ad. Nope, not getting hit with an ad. All right. So sit back, listen, and let's enjoy Bryce being welcomed to Philadelphia.
I want to be on Broad Street on a freaking boat or whatever, a thing, a bus, whatever it is, and, you know, have a trophy over my head and do that, because that's what it's all about. Even through the bumps and bruises, I want to go through that as well. I want to be part of this organization. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to be part of this family, this Philly nation. So, you know, this whole city, it's a winning city. It's an amazing city. I think you're always remembered for winning, and what better place to do it than in Philly. You know, I haven't played there yet, but to be able to feel it on social media and feel how excited they are, to be able to feel the love from other guys on other teams in the city, Ben Simmons, Carson Wentz, you know, just guys that have reached out. It's amazing to see, because nobody in the next 13 years is going to talk about, oh, he's going to the Yankees, he's going here, he's going there. You know, I'm making 26 a year, something like that. So I think that's going to be able to bring some other guys in as well to be able to help this organization win. I know there's another guy in about 2 years that comes up off the books. You know, that we'll see what happens with them. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to win an MVP every single year. Is that my goal? Is that my success to do that? Absolutely, I want to do that every single year. But there's going to be down years. There's going to be big years. There's going to be years that are just okay. You know, that's at the end of the day, I want to be able to go to sleep and know that I gave it my all and was able to bring back a title to the Philadelphia Phillies organization, to Mr. Middleton, to Mrs. Middleton, and to the whole city of Philly.
Two things. First of all, that was all wonderful. That was beautiful.
So beautiful.
It was fantastic. Two things from Saturday's press conference that have nothing to do with Bryce Harper that I noticed.
I would just like to inform you that Joe's currently laughing at these headphones on us. He's like, you guys, it's just funny. I'm like, at least you're watching.
We have to, Joe, have to wear them, man. I don't know how to tell you.
You look like Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse? I think I look good for once.
I just,
Yours are like mine. See, I have a monster head. So mine really just hang.
If I push them down, I don't know. I have a really tiny head. Like a really tiny. I'll tell you a funny story about my tiny head during This Is Madness. Remind me. I'll tell you a very funny story about my little head.
Can't wait. Anyway, first of all, Bryce Harper's dad is...
Oh, I'm sorry. He was making fun of just me, not you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you making that clear. And love that you're making fun of her while we are live on air. This is awesome. Live stream. Can't get this without live stream. Can't get it without live stream.
Anyway.
Bryce Harper's father is just jacked.
Absolutely.
And looks like he could be his brother. He looks so damn young. And it's probably because the beard looks like it's painted on.
I think it was Farzetta this morning that was like, he's got a Blackbeard beard going.
Yeah.
And he's right.
He does. And the other thing is, not thank you, John Middleton, not thank you, Mike Klentak. We can thank them all we want, and we should. They played a role. But you know who I'm thanking? Lee Middleton. Lee Middleton seems to have been the How many times has Bryce Harper referred to her? How many times did his wife, Kayla, refer to her? Mm-hmm. Lee Middleton, the power of the woman. It came out in full force to get Bryce Harper in a Phillies uniform.
Doesn't get much better than us.
And it was just at a time where we were like literally... Rob was sad. Thursday morning. Wednesday I had a terrible day. Not all because of Bryce Harper, but that made it worse. But Thursday I remember waking up and I'm like, I cannot believe that this news is going to break in the next 2 days. And Bryce is going to be putting on blue or becoming a Giant, because on Wednesday, the last thing you heard on Wednesday was the Giants made a 10-plus year offer and things were about to get real serious there. And I'm going, he's going to go to the friggin' Giants? Like, you can't hit the right field if you're a left-handed hitter in San Francisco.
No, and what we've talked about so much and about LeBron or Le'Veon Bell possibly going to somewhere like the Jets, just taking the money and other things and not worrying about winning or anything like that. And that's what those moves would have been. And it would have been a giant slap in the face, obviously, because it was over the Phillies and because it would have been really, really clear that it had absolutely nothing to do with baseball and winning a championship. It was going to be all about, the money and being where he wanted to be and this, that, and the other thing. Now, granted, we did give him the most money, but if he would have, if it would have come out that we offered him the $330 million and they only offered him $310 and he took the $310. I mean, granted, if you're making $300 million, what is $20 million at that point? Mm-hmm. But they're about to go through a big rebuild, So we are right there. And I think that it says a lot about him as a competitor. And even he mentioned, someone asked him if because he's making that money, he's here for 13 years, there's no way they can get rid of him. Is he going to slack off a little bit? And he was like, my dad will kick my ass if I play any different. And I just think that says just a lot about him as a player. And that's the kind of player that I wanted here. Would I have been upset with a Manny Machado? No. But at the end of the day, he wasn't Bryce Harper. And I really think that I appreciate that John Middleton paid enough attention to that to
literally
because that's the thing. Manny Machado, that's exactly what he did. He took his $300 million to go play in San Diego.
Where no one will ever criticize
garbage.
him.
No one will criticize him. He'll never win anything over there.
You want to know why no one will criticize him? People are just happy to live in San Diego.
Right. So it's just that's that. Whatever. But this is, we talked about the different, the way he doesn't hustle. And I said that to you before. Would I have been upset with a talent like Manny Machado? No. Would I have known that at some point, even in the first year, I would have been livid and irate at several things that Manny Machado did and the way he acted? Absolutely. We're never going to have that problem with Bryce Harper. Will he make dumb mistakes now and then? Yeah, sure. Everyone does. Whatever. But we're never going to have to worry about him not playing his hardest because he's a competitor. And that's, what he wants to do. He wants to make his money, start a family, give back in the community, and just freaking play baseball and win.
Yeah. And, you said it. John Middleton said in an interview this week, he said, one thing that Bryce had going for him over Manny was the Philadelphia fans wanted him. They paid attention to everything. They saw everything. They saw all the reports. If you subscribe to The Athletic, Matt Gelb, who covers the Phillies, wrote an article that kind of broke down since November all the intricacies of the Phillies and Bryce Harper. And my God, how awesome it was to read that. Mm-hmm. Even to the point where Middleton, and he's discussed this, calls one of the other owners and said on Thursday morning, it says, and as he's on the phone with them, starts getting calls from Scott Boras and wouldn't take them. Didn't take them right away. And then he got a text, and then he sent it through to Matt Klentak, and Klentak kind of closed the deal while they all sat in a room and waited because Klentak wasn't coming to the office because he thought it was a done deal. So he stayed in his condo and out there in Clearwater and closed the deal from his condo. And it just was first. If you subscribe to The Athletic, read that piece. It's a great piece.
It is.
There's really actually two really good ones. The other one is by Jason Stark, who interviewed Jason Worth after Harper talked about and the fact that Worth was kind of his mentor in Washington, and he gave him really rousing approvals of Philadelphia. And at some point in the next few weeks, I've been in contact with Jason Stark. Hopefully, we can get him on because I want to ask him a little bit more about that article and talking to Jason Worth and things. But, not only has Bryce Harper said all that, he's doubled down on things. He goes on the radio yesterday, and he says, if you don't think I'm calling Mike Trout in 2020, you're crazy. Angels got mad and told Major League Baseball and all blah, 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 blah. So Harper was asked about it today. And he said about the Phillies, talk to me a little bit, not MLB or anything like that. When that time comes and guys are free agents, we'll see what happens. And then someone said, but you did mean what you said, right? He went, if I didn't mean it, I wouldn't have said it. I love you, Bryce.
I love you, Bryce.
I love everything about this guy. This guy is everything.
I love everything about him. I could not love him more.
We've wanted it in this town. We thought that he was going to be a fit. Now, obviously, they haven't gotten the field. They haven't played.
No, I don't care.
He'll play Saturday, but his persona is amazing, and I love every minute of his persona.
It took me 10 minutes to buy Phillies tickets.
How many? Now let me ask you.
I just bought 2 tickets to one game.
I did the same thing. What game did you buy?
The April 8th. It's the first game where they're here against the Nationals. Yeah.
So what I did was this worked out perfectly for me. 2 stories about this, and then we can get to This Is Madness and start. It's 4:40.
But we started late.
I know, but how late can we go? Because there might be someone coming in after us.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Jess.
Let's just roll. Anyway, my stories are long, so it's going to take some time.
Okay,
No, they're not really
fine.
that long. What was my first story?
I don't know. We were talking about. Okay.
So I knew I wanted to get tickets right away. I knew the home opener would be a disaster to try and get tickets to. So I looked for the second game, they'll play on a Thursday home opener, Friday off, and then they play a Saturday 4:05 game against the Braves. Happens to be March 30th. My father's birthday is March 31st.
That's one of my best friend's birthdays.
Is it?
Yes.
So I went on StubHub and immediately found 2 tickets, lower level, out in the outfield, not in right field, because amazingly they were more expensive.
Oh, I bought 2 tickets in right field.
Yeah, no,
Monday night they were not.
Yeah, they were too expensive. They were like
$30.
over $100 a piece, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And we are in center field, but me and my dad, it was my birthday gift to him. I've already called him. I said, don't make any plans. We're going to see Bryce against the Braves in the second game of the season. So it actually worked out perfectly for me because I was able to justify spending the money to the wife by saying, but this is for Dad's birthday. And it is, but it's also for Bryce. And I want to see him. And I figure the second game of the season, he won't be taking a rest yet. I'm going to go out on the limb.
Yeah.
Say he's not resting.
I wanted to see, so I checked the opening day. I would have bought them. I would have pulled the trigger on them, but I teach on Thursdays, and the game is at 4, and I teach in Delaware at 6:30. So I was like, that's not going to work. So then we just kind of, I looked to see when they played on a weeknight, maybe where it was they would be a little bit cheaper than a Saturday or something like that. So I found the April 8th game. They play 7:05. They're playing it's the first game. The Nationals come here. So we're going to go see that and hopefully not be freezing in April, but I doubt that April 8th it'll be warm enough.
It's going to be cold in all those games. Cold. March, April, it's always cold.
It's going to be cold, but I'm excited. And I checked right field and we got tickets in row 3 in right field for $30 each.
Maybe I should have looked later.
Well, no,
I wanted to go to the first series.
It was a weeknight. That's why. And it wasn't one of the first ones. And I mean, granted, like the ones for the Chase Utley night, they've skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah. And you figured they were going to anyway.
Right.
But what was amazing about all the Bryce Harper stuff, and you've heard the stats, 275,000 tickets have sold since he signed. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous. And that was like 100,000 in the first 24 hours.
And I was 2 of those.
He has the highest jersey sale in the first 48 hours in the history of Fanatics.com.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that the Phillies ran out of R's?
Yes.
That was hilarious.
That's awesome.
It was so funny.
And there were people literally waiting in line for them to get the R's.
Yeah.
Insane. It's insane. The whole thing is insane. I can't believe it happened.
I can't believe it happened. I was sitting at my desk and all of a sudden
that's what I want to do.
I was sitting at my desk. I got the notification and I was like, this isn't real because it's John Heyman that reported it. And then I got it from the My Teams app, and that's when I knew it was real, and I freaked out. And I was like, oh my God, ran into one of my coworkers' offices, and we started freaking out. And then all of a sudden, my dad got off the phone, and they're doing construction on our office building right now. So instead of my dad being in his usual office, he was in the one next to mine, just to get away from some of the banging. And he got off the phone, and he was like, did you just say what I think you just said? And I opened the door and ran in. I was jumping up and down. I cried a little bit. It was really exciting. I was ecstatic. Nothing could have been negative. And then I called Joe and was like, oh my God, did you just see that? And he was like, what? I was like, Bryce Harper. It was very exciting. I did cry a little bit. It was fantastic.
You cried a little bit, huh?
It's okay. I cried twice on Thursday because the Jonas Brothers announced they were releasing new music. And then Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. Really all around fabulous day. Could not have gotten much better.
Yes. Another safety hit. Man, the safety market is flooded. This guy from Denver, Darian Stewart, he was one of their starters. But that safety market between him and Weddle and Landon Collins and Earl Thomas.
Did you see somebody tweeted and was like, this is the strongest safety free agency class and all we have is Rodney McLeod? Mm-hmm. And Rodney McLeod responded and was like,
I'll take Rodney.
I'll take Rodney.
But at the same time, I wouldn't mind them looking into a couple of these guys.
No, I wouldn't either, but I love me some Rodney McLeod.
Let me give you now. I'm always attached to my phone. That's not mixed words. I'm always attached to it. I get in trouble all the time. I'm always on my phone. I have an addiction, no doubt about it. But especially over the last couple of weeks where it seemed like Bryce was going to sign and then he didn't sign, and I've been on it constantly. rebooting Twitter over and over and over and over again. My basketball season ended Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. Okay? Basketball season ended Wednesday night. And it was not a good day. Thursday came. I was very upset. It just really was a sad ending. And then the Bryce Harper stuff just seemed dead. But it was still going to be a good day because we were going to our 20-week appointment for our child, which is the anatomy scan. So you're looking at the pictures for a long time and they're measuring things to make sure everything's good.
Right.
So I'm sitting in the doctor's office literally like this the whole time. And then we go in. So I'm like, all right, got to put the phone away. What's going to happen in an hour? I put the phone away, and all of a sudden I feel 2 or 3 buzzes right away. And I went, no. I pick up my phone. I have a text in a group chat. Bryce is a Philly. And I'm like, it's probably some jerk. So pictures are up on the screen.
Yes.
Baby's up there. Wife here holding hand. Me like this.
Oh, you jackass.
See the John Heyman. See the John Heyman tweet. Notice the blue check next to his name. And then I start seeing him come in from everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, Bryce Harper's Philly. Like, Bryce. And at this point,
Did she
Alyssa.
punch you in the face?
No. I looked at her and said, Les, Bryce Harper, $330 million. She's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Look. And the rest of the time in there was kind of like, I'm like back and forth. And at one point, the doctor left and she said, can you please look at pictures of our unborn child? I said, same picture. I've seen it for a while now. Very cute. Hands, fingers, feet, all is very, very well. Bryce Harper's a Philly. But we got so it ended up being a really good day because we got a good report. The baby is good. Everything looks great. They don't want us to see us again until the birth. Like, we don't have to do any more ultrasounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whatever, unless something comes up. And Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. So I was like, I went from an ultimate low to this ultimate high. And I called my dad on my way home, and I said, I have been attached to this damn electronic device for 3 weeks. You're telling me this is going to break while I am in one of the more important visits of my unborn child? But it was awesome. It was perfect.
That's so funny. That's crazy. Look.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, she was like, I don't care.
This is our unborn child.
I was like, what a day.
That's hilarious. Oh
it was excellent
she didn't hit you.
On so many levels. Nah, she didn't hit me. She knew that I have been waiting on this.
Sure.
A Red Sox pitcher suspended 80 games for a failed PED test. Knuckleballer Stephen Wright.
Hate to see it.
Yeah. Cry, Boston, cry. That's all I'm going to say to you. So, yeah, it was
They will.
Wow. It was it's like really like sinister. It was a very interesting way to find out, but I thought it just was perfect.
That's funny. You'll remember that forever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I jumped around my office for a solid 15 minutes and then bought Phillies tickets.
Well, and then it became, you've gone over the lineup, but now that it was like this official thing, you went over Segura, McCutchen, Real Muto, Reese Hoskins, Bryce Harper.
The emotions are so high.
I'm so excited. And then now the back end of your lineup, and even if you decide that Cesar is your leadoff, I call him Cesar. Cesar. You're Cesar Hernandez.
Did the real Cesar live here? Is this hotel pager friendly? I'm not getting a cig on my beeper.
You guys have bank of payphones around here? Such a great scene. There was actually a advertisement. There was a commercial on for Caesar's Hotel in Las Vegas, and I couldn't even pay attention. They were trying to sell the hotel, and all I could think about was Alan from The Hangover.
My parents...
Did the real Caesar actually live here?
My parents had a condo in Las Vegas for a couple years. And every time we went out there, it was just... for the first 24 hours, it was straight hangover jokes. Mm-hmm. Every time. It never got old. Ever. The plane would land, and my brother would look at me and be like, how about that ride in? I guess that's why they call it Sin City. And every time we would die laughing. And there was always one person on the plane
speech.
that was like,
I love that speech.
no, and so without fail. Every time, straight hangover quotes. And it was funny every time.
I just love when he goes, right after he says, I guess that's why they call it Sin City, and then he gives the fake laugh. He goes, ah! It's fantastic.
I almost... I need to watch that movie now. No, I really just feel like I want to watch that movie.
But like I was going to say before we started our hangover talk, that the bottom of your lineup is guys like Michael Franco and Odubel Herrera. And I like them in that role. And I hope that they can do something in that role. I really do. I really do. Like, you have an unbelievable line, but now the question is, what are you going to do with your bench? Are you going to keep Nick Williams up, or are you going to let him go play? And keep Aaron Altera up, because he's probably no better than a bench player.
Right.
You know, I look at their bullpen. I love their bullpen. I think of, obviously, Robertson and Sir Anthony Dominguez at the back. I think of a couple of the guys, what is it, Alvarez and Nicasio, I think, that came over in one of their deals. And then you got your Pat Nesheks and guys like that. Very solid bullpen, even if they don't add anything else to it. My only concern is the rotation right now. Mm-hmm. Love Nola, and I think Arrieta has a bounce back year where he's in spring training all the way through. I think it's going to help him.
Yep.
And I know Real Muto and Harper have talked up the Eflins and the Pavettas and the who am I missing? Velasquez, and who was pitching to Bryce Harper today?
I don't remember. Maybe they take a step forward. Who knows?
You need them to, but like I wanted them, and what I think they end up doing, they become buyers at the trade deadline, obviously, and they buy an arm. They go out and they get an arm, and that's something I'm excited about. I haven't been this excited for the beginning of a baseball season
since 2008.
Since probably 2009 after they won.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, no, I lie. 2011 when they brought the 4 aces in, I couldn't wait to watch the 4 games of the season where I could watch Halladay, Hamels, Lee, Oswalt the first 4 games of the season. Like, that was awesome to me. That was awesome to me. Like, I was super excited in 11, and then they win all those games, and then obviously the demise with the playoffs. But I'm like, seriously, like, I can't wait to watch regular season baseball right now. And it's not going to be like that all year. I won't sit through every single game, all 9 innings.
No.
I just can't. But will I check in every night? Probably.
Will I have it on in the background?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I probably will be checking in and watching a lot of the games. And it's just, right now, between the Sixers, between the Phillies, between the Eagles making noise in this free agent world, and even the Flyers, who are not going to make the playoffs but have been like 16-3-2.
Right.
We are in what could be the dawning of a new golden age of Philadelphia sports, and I'm excited about it.
We're going to have those kids that are like, I'm 17 years old and I've seen however many.
God, I hope so.
That's going to happen.
God, I hope so. I want titles. I want wins.
That's going to be Ellen Ariana. Those kids.
And they're I'm going to save that because that's coming up here.
See, if we do this, they can watch you right while you're not there.
This is true, but that probably will make it worse.
Maybe.
They freaked out the other. What happened? They came to my game.
Oh.
And Ariana did not like that she could not come see me in the middle of the game as I was coaching.
Ah, yes.
Was not a fan.
No.
I went down to the locker room halftime. She apparently cried the entire halftime though I came up.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad. And then she threw a hissy fit because they only could buy 1 bag of Skittles and she didn't want to share it with her sister. It's like her father.
Twins, dude.
She's like her father. So yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited.
Either.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. I can't wait to watch a freaking spring training game on Saturday.
Yeah, I can wait for that, but I'm going to watch his at-bats and then probably turn it off.
Yeah.
What time is that game on?
No idea.
I should probably find that out.
Me too.
Because I'm on dad duty this weekend. Alyssa's going away, so I got to make sure they're either in for a nap or on their YouTube at the time he comes up to the bat. Oh,
I shake my head, but I know that's how I'm going to be as a parent.
Sometimes you got to do it for sports.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, damn it.
I wasn't.
You were attacking me.
I really, really wasn't.
I felt attacked.
You shouldn't feel attacked because I didn't attack you.
Not this time, but sometimes you do.
At some point, maybe.
All right. I'm going to... So what do you got? You got anything else? You want to go to This Is Madness?
Let's go to This Is Madness.
All right. Hang on. Let's try and get this...
Wouldn't you consider that to be insane?
This is
That's right. It's time for everybody's favorite part of the show where we talk about random nonsense, whether it be sports related or not sports related. Apparently, the tiny head is going to be brought up here. I have a few things down, and they're not. Actually, 3 of them are not sports. 3 of them are not sports.
I have 3 things written down.
I have 5 things written down,
including my tiny head story.
Okay.
So the first thing I thought was really funny. This with the freaking
You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm fine. Do you want to turn your microphone on or what?
Listen, I don't like to drink with my microphone on because then people hear me drinking.
Yeah. Okay. So my first story is, so right after, I think it was that night or the next night, the kid that smacked Russell Westbrook on the arm. The kid that smacked Russell Westbrook on the arm. Now, I'm not the biggest Russell Westbrook fan. Let's start there.
I can't believe he thinks he can give a kid a lesson, jerk.
No, I don't have a problem with that at all. I have a problem with the parent who buys their child a courtside seat and doesn't have a little conversation with him so he's aware that
Agreed.
he shouldn't be touching players. Like, that's not, you don't get that right. You buying a courtside seat does not give you the right to, like, be in a museum. That's not what it is. And I have no problem with the fact, because think about it like this. Russ is going a million miles a minute all the time. Mm-hmm. He's always hot and ready to go every time. So for him to turn around, see it was a kid, and just be like, hey, you know, that's not what you should be doing right now, and just talking to him a little bit. And I mean, I think he handled it the best way possible, and I think he handled it the right way. I have a problem with the kid more than anything, and the parent of the kid.
I agree with that.
That's my story.
I agree with that.
That's my first one.
I agree. I have a problem with the parent of the kid there, without a doubt. I mean, you can't allow that to happen. If I'm Russ, though, you just walk away. You should not be giving lessons when you try and fight everybody because you're a jackass. Moving on. So, you know how, kids have a tendency to, like, not be able to sit through a movie?
Yeah.
But as they get older, they kind of latch on to a movie. And for the most part, my girls have gone back and forth. It's been Frozen at times. It's been Moana at times. Mm-hmm. Sing has had a couple good runs in the family. Well, from Friday to today, let's go all the way up to today. I have watched The Cat in the Hat, the live version, over 30 times. And let me tell you,
that's a horrible movie.
It's not, though. That's what I want to get to in a minute. But before I get to that, my whole point is this. Literally the other day, it finished, and the credits rolled, and it goes back to the screen.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, all right, let's see what they want to do, what they want to watch next, or where they want to go. Daddy, we watch Cat in the Hat? I was like, Ariana, it literally just ended. I just stopped watching it. And she said, I know, but I want to watch Cat in the Hat. I said, I bought you every Disney movie known to man. We can't watch any. And of course, I was like, I watch Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, great. No, I want to watch Cat in the Hat. And then Alan went, yeah, I'm going to watch Cat in the Hat. And then it was over. I put the Cat in the Hat back on. 40 some odd times I feel like I've watched it. But I will say, I don't understand what they enjoy about it because the humor's for us.
Yeah.
Like, it is dirty adult humor.
Yeah.
Like at one point he's holding a hoe, and he scares the dog, and they went, you scared him away, and he goes, dirty hoe. That's all right, baby. I love you. I'm like, wait a minute. Time out. I find that really hysterical. See, look at you. Go back and watch. When was the last time you watched a movie? Tell me the last time. What were you? Tell me how old you were.
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Go back and watch it. I'm telling you, because I had the same reaction you did. First time I ever saw him, like, this is stupid. The comedy in there is actually not bad. Mike Myers is a genius.
Oh, we knew that.
In that movie. In this movie, though.
It's funny.
At one point, he's acting like he's doing like a cooking show, but like a real low budget one. He goes, hi, I'm the guy in the sweater that has all the obvious questions. Like something I would get now that I didn't get before. It was very good. But 47 times overkill. And I will bet you when I go home tonight,
They will ask you to.
No. It's already going to be on by the time I get home.
yeah.
Cat in the Hat will be on. All right, go ahead.
My other one was, did you see the thread on Twitter about Barstool? About the girl with the video on Barstool?
The girl with the video.
So there was a girl who posted a video on her Twitter or Instagram or something, and Barstool took it and posted it on theirs without giving her credit, without saying anything to her. She filed a complaint through Twitter. I think it was Twitter. Filed a complaint through Twitter and said, they've used this video. It's not mine, or it's mine. They didn't give me credit. They won't give me credit. I've reached out to them. They've done nothing. So they deleted the tweet from Barstool. Barstool then sent her an email and was like, so sorry about this. We want to offer you a $50 Barstool merchandise gift card for us to use your video. And she's like, no. Then they upped it to 100. Then they upped it to 500. Now it's up to like 1,000, but they also sent her like a cease and desist note or something. They're trying to like blackmail her and extort her into letting them use her video without giving her any credit. It's like the most ridiculous thing. I'll send you the thread. You'll have to go through and read it. But I sent it to Joe. We both read it, and we were both like, F Barstool, dude. Like,
yeah, and it's funny because it's funny you bring that up because I've been a Barstool fan. I own some of their stuff.
Yeah, I never had a problem.
I've always laughed. I've always thought it was funny. I think it's hysterical that Roger Goodell has put something out and had 5 of their pictures on it, like almost like an FBI's most wanted list for NFL events. Like it says on there, if you see any of these 5 people in an NFL event, arrest them immediately as they are trying. Like, he is like Dave Portnoy owns, and Joel Embiid's words, owns real estate in Roger Goodell's head like no other. Mm-hmm. And I think all that is funny. But they're starting to do some things where I'm like, listen, they've always pushed the envelope.
Right.
They've always talked about things that most people wanted. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I'm not happy with some of the things they're doing.
Yeah, they're going in a weird direction that I'm not totally on board with,
yeah.
I think.
And I like those guys. And I've had Smitty on the show, and he's a Philly guy, and I've met him, and he's extremely a down-to-earth guy. When some of
the stuff is fine, but then they do things every now and then that you're like, that's questionable.
Yeah, have you listened to some of their podcasts? And I'm not talking about the Portnoy podcast.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about?
No.
They
have a few.
It is vulgar.
Well, yeah, most of them are.
Outrageously vulgar, but could be considered awesome by some. I don't know. All right.
Next.
All right, I'm going to take this one out. The Sixers played the Orlando Magic last night.
Yeah.
Who's on the Orlando Magic?
Markelle Fultz.
So when you go to the visitors' locker room, they always do a welcome back sign for former players and coaches.
Yep.
There was one for Markelle Fultz.
Was there really? Was he even there?
I don't care. The guy ripped the team afterwards. Screw him. Welcome him back.
They didn't do a video or anything.
I don't care. Yeah, ridiculous. Just pissing me off. That's all I got to say about it. But I will. Let me just give this one off of
and
that.
Then I'll tell my little head story.
Yeah. Sixer shirts. I cannot get my daughters to wear these damn shirts. Every day I went, girls, it's Sixer. You went, no, I don't want to wear these. They want to wear the same shirt 50 times in a row. They can't wear the damn Sixer shirts? Wear the Sixer shirt. I'm telling you, this child better be a boy.
You're not going to have, I'm going to let you know right now, you're not going to have any luck changing their minds ever.
This child better be a boy. They're already complaining about clothes. I don't want to wear that. You're 3. Yeah. You wear whatever the hell I tell you to wear.
No, they don't.
No, they're 3.
No, they don't.
Ridiculous.
They don't.
Yeah, give me your story.
Okay. So we're going to tell the story about my tiny head. So as I have mentioned, I have a very little head. And it's proportional to my own body, okay? So my head is proportional to my body, but it's very, very tiny. So I have a very hard time finding hats and things that fit. Typically, they have to be children's hats if I buy them.
Do you wear anything that's not children's size?
No.
This is ridiculous.
No, I do. But so I like hats in stores and stuff, like baseball hats, I have to buy the child size. Otherwise, they're just going to be too big. And if I buy like beanies and stuff, they sometimes have to be child size too because I can't. They're too big on my head. So a couple years ago, we were in Las Vegas for New Year's. It was New Year's 2015 into 16. So we go out there, and it was my family, so my mom, dad, my brother, sister, and Joe came as well. So we're all out there for New Year's, and my parents thought something fun that we could do would be do one of those indoor skydiving things. Oh. So we go, and you have to put on like a regular skydiving suit, so like a full jumpsuit, and you have to wear a helmet too, because you're in this chamber with this huge like airplane engine that blows wind straight up to make you essentially hover. And so everyone's getting these really awesome like motorcycle helmets, like big helmet with the big thing that comes across the face like this, and to protect you, because obviously you're you're in the wind, so it's all of that like wind getting blown up at your face. Well, they're putting them on everybody. They get one on mom, dad, Soph, Andrew, Joe, and everyone's like, all right. And they're like, all right, let's get you one. Well, they tried on, and they were like, what size do you think you need? And I was like, I need the smallest size you have, because I have a little head. So they put the smallest size, and they're like, it's too big. It's going to fly off your head. It's too big. So I was like, okay. So they're like, we have to go find you a special helmet. So they leave, and they're gone, and then they come back with this like little like, child's bike helmet for me to wear. No face guard, just like a little helmet, because it was the only one that would fit me.
I would have walked off and said, I'm not doing this. It's not going to happen. You humiliated yourself. I just want you to know that you humiliated yourself.
I can't help that my head's tiny. So meanwhile, while we're doing this, everyone's like, doing a really good job, and it's really cool. And their face and their eyeballs and their mouth and their nose are all protected from this wind, but mine aren't. So like I have to like squeeze my eyes closed because they hurt, and my nose is all dry. My mouth is all dry because the wind's like blowing at me. Oh my God, it was ridiculous. And to this day, they still haven't let me live it down, to the point where I mentioned I was going to tell my little head story, and Sophie texted me immediately and went, please tell me you're going to tell the small head story on the air still. So that's my little head story. I have a tiny head. I don't know what you want me to do about it. I have a little head.
You know what I want you to do about it, Jess? I want you to just keep being you.
I just have a little head.
That's all I want you to do, Jess. The madness now has the little head,
out a picture
the
of
gigantic
me later.
head.
I'll tweet out a picture of me later in the little helmet.
Oh, God. Yes, please do. And please tag Philly
one.
Madness and let me have fun with this for a long time. Very good show today. A lot of fun, a lot of goofiness. Really, really did a great thing. We didn't even get to our Lenten things. As I said, I'm giving up trying to explain people Brett Brown. That's what I'm giving up. I'm not giving up fighting. I'm just going to give up trying to explain Brett Brown. You giving anything up, Jess?
No, I'm not. I refuse to participate in this because I can't commit to anything. I can't commit to anything like that. I'll break it tomorrow.
Jess, you're in a multi-year relationship. You can commit to things.
You're right.
I'm asking 40 days of giving something up.
No, I can't do that when it comes to sports.
Oh my God.
I'll break it tomorrow. I don't want to do that to myself. Then I'll just let myself down.
Well, that was fun. Listen,
I'll just give me some time to think about it because I wasn't aware.
Is brought to you by ProSportsNotes.com, powered by Wildfire Radio, Friday 9 to 11 a.m. We're now on YouTube Live, but you can watch us at any time. All right? Get shop.prosportsnotes.com. By the way, I have one of these shirts. We are going to be giving it away next week. We're going to figure out a way to give this away next week. Okay? We'll talk about it during the week. Hopefully, we are not alone next week. Hopefully, if things work out, we will have a good guest on the show. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Jess, have a good week.
You too.
Embrace the madness, everybody. Take it easy.